There he is, ready for another big day. How you doing, Danny? You ready for a big day, Danny? You see something, Danny? Hey, welcome back, Sawmill, everybody. My name is Bill. This is Pirate Solutions Forestry, and we are going to try to knock out, hopefully drama-free, as compared to cutting the 16-foot beam last night, 2 of the 7-foot beams. One's going to be around 8, one's going to be close to 8, and they need to be 8 by 8, wane-free. I brought 2 logs down, look like they're going to be perfect for this. The only problem with this job is that I kind of have to do this manually, which is no big deal. We'll manage. They're small. It's not like they're going to be heavy or hard to turn. The only thing I may do differently on this one is given the fact that I am doing it manually up against stops that I did square once upon a time, but I don't know how good they are now. I'll be doing the 180 roll method. So we're going to cut the top off this thing, make sure we get a nice clean face, and we'll flip it all the way over and we'll clean off the other side. Then we'll flip it up sideways, make sure it's square with a square, and cut the rest of this thing out. And the second log is going to be a carbon copy of this. And then the last thing that I need to do today is to edge off my edgings over here for my trailer decking order. I have plenty over here to fill it. It's small. It's a small trailer. The pieces are less than 5 feet long, and there's only like 5 or 6 of them. So the edgings will cover those. But we got to start off with these. Now, the challenges with working with small logs for me is holding and leveling. What I ended up doing was I ended up taking this log and spinning it around so I had my small end down here so that I could use my toe board here to level the end of this log. However, as crazy as it's going to look, the center 8 by 8 here, the top of it is higher than the other end. Not much, but it just ended up on the mill in an orientation that I don't have to level it. So we're just going to go ahead and cut it out. So let's see if we can burn through this one. Like I said last night on that 16-foot beam, should take about 20 minutes. Also, one thing I wanted to explain, just really quick. When I come in and I make my lines with the saw blade, the saw band on the end of the log, sometimes it seems like, well, why is he doing that? He knows what the measurement is and seems a little silly to do. In last night's job, that saved me. Because when I made those initial lines, when I came down to where that line was supposed to be at 14 5/8, and my band was a ½ inch off, it told me there was something wrong. All they're there for really is a reference mark, and it told me something happened. And what had happened was that this toe board had dropped from where I initially checked the log, and that saved me. Knowing that that mark had dropped saved me on that log. So it's not, on a manual mill, which, I know that I'm hydraulic, but overall, this is basically a manual setup. It's not a bad idea to come in and make those lines ever, guys. I know, unless you're in a production setting where the boss is yelling at you to get going, it's never a bad idea to kind of mark out your cant, and it's never a bad idea to make those marks as you come up off your cant to see what you can steal out of the top. It's just a reference point, and it saved my butt last night. So let's get to cutting this one. So the top cut's going to be around 11. I'm going to make a line at 11 and see if I can steal something above it. Doesn't look good. I don't really need anything above it. I'm going to go ahead and make a mark. I'm going to come up. It's not going to be a lot up there. I'm just going to come up 1 inch to 12 1/8. Actually, I'm going to come up 7/8 to 12. We're going to make our top cut there. For some reason, I'm not flowing any water here. Now, let's make it right here. Today is going to turn into one of those days. I can tell already. My plant just fell. All right, let's try and make our cut now. The other good thing about trying to steal something out of the top is it's going to show me if there's any crazy tension in the log. Oh, I just crushed my foot. We definitely want to minimize any black staining, so it just makes more sense to scrape them. These are straight red oak, and we're going to go back and we're going to drop down, take it at 11. Just a pretty little straight grain red oak. Now we're going to go ahead and spin this thing. I'm in a pretty good spot. I'm just a hair above my line back here, and I'm right on my line over there. I am going to raise up my hydraulic stop. I'm not sure how lined up I am here. It doesn't look like I'm very lined up, actually. It's probably going to miss it. We'll just flip it all the way over. And you know what? For the sake of speeding things up, I'll just flip it by hand. Why even fire up that motor right now? We got to make sure our stops are below 8 inches right now. I had a guy ask me a question on a forum not long ago about how do you not hit your stops all the time. He said he hits his stops all the time. And I don't really know how to answer that, really, to be honest with you, other than I pay attention. And I'm not saying he doesn't pay attention, but obviously if he hits his stops all the time, then something's going on weird. Log's going to be a lot more stable now. Danny, come down here. Got both of my stops down around 5, so I can cut this side to 8. I'll make a line at 8 and see if we can steal something above it. So we'll come down to 8. Let's make a line for a reference mark. I can definitely get something above it. Not much, but I'm going to come up to 9. Might even be able to steal one more here. I'm going to come up to 10. These are 7/8 boards. I'm going to take it like that. Nope, that was a bad cut. looked like there was a lot more there than there is. I'm hoping this doesn't bite me in the butt when I take this to 8. I need this to clean up enough to give me that 8 inches here. I think I'm actually going to have to be careful with this because it's so thin in the middle. I've got 8 clean, but I got to be real careful with how I clean this up. Should have stayed away from that bottom measurement if I didn't take that other flitch on the bottom. I'd be fine. I could drop down and take one more here, but now I can't. You know, and this is a good example of why you keep those lines and everything, because, you know, to do it by eye, it's just not always the smartest way to do it. I'm going to end up with sapwood in this post. If I get this to 8 wide here, it's going to have to be cut almost perfect. I'm going to end up with sapwood in it. There's no doubt about it. Even as perfect as this all is going, just kind of went a little bit haywire on me. This is kind of old school. When you get the hydraulics, you kind of forget about having to do this. Perfect right there. I need to cut this to that mark. It's nice and solid to that right there to get my 8 inches clean with no wane. So I almost have to guess over here where that is. And it's somewhere around 12 and a half. I think it looks like I'm going to take it at 13 and then I'll measure down to that mark and see how much to skim off to get to right to that corner. And that gives me just enough to get my 8 inches the other way. So we'll take it at 13 first. Now I'll measure down, see how much I have to take off that. It's like 1.25 inches. So is that 13? I'm using the bottom of the band right now. They come down to 11.75. Check my stop. Looks like I'm clear. This should be perfect. This is the point, if this is a really big log and you're all manual, you got to hold on to it, because this is the point where when you release that this thing can come rolling off on you. And it's happened to me, so. Try to grab it right on the outside where it's not going to affect anything. Get our stops down below 8. So I'm just going to go someplace safe, like 5. Give us some support up and down. Just going to take it right at 8. Make firewood out of the rest of it. Maybe I'll take it at 9 and then 8. Cleaned up by a 1/4 inch. Very cool 8 by 8. Just take a measurement, make sure. 8 by 8. Okay. So we're gonna have to get this off the mill. I've got to go put away my slab wood, get this thing off the mill, get the top scraped off it. Don't foresee any problems with this one. It's real straight grained, pretty simple. There's no figure in it. We'll get this one stuffed over there. We'll get the other one up here, and we're going to do the same thing. All right, we're going to do this one by eye. Now, there's not a ton of room here. It's 13 wide down here, and it's like 13 3/4 by 13 3/4 down there. It's 13 3/4 high. The 13 would yield 8.5 inch can. So that's going to be a little tight. The 13 3/4 gives us a little bit of leeway, almost one board flitch around the whole thing. What we're going to do is we're going to come down to the middle, which is 6 3/4 down there. And we're going to treat this like we're trying to make a 10 inch cant, and then we're going to saw worst face to take the inches off to get to 8 so that we can deal with any wane. So we're going to come up 5 inches from 6 3/4, cut this at 11 3/4. On the top, flip it over. We're not going to take that other inch yet. We're going to roll it right over now. Wow. There's nothing above it. I'm just going to cut it at 10. Seemed like a decent opening face. I almost got my 8 there, so we're not doing bad right now. This next cut's going to be the critical one. We got to get it squared up. And we have to make this cut like our life depends on it, because it does on this log. There's not going to be a lot left over here. Oh, perfect right there. Perfect right there. This log's only 7'4", so there's not a lot of room for messing around here. So we're going to work out of the center. So it's 14 high, but there's a swoop here. It's going to almost clean up at 11. So 14 high, I would go 7 and then 5 would be to take it at 12, and that's what it looks like. So let's take it at 12. Now, if this isn't 8 inches wide, I can go ahead and take one because it needs it. And it's not. I'm going to go ahead and drop down to 11 and take it there. It needs it. And what little bit of wane is left here is going to come off on the sides. So now we can kind of go around the horn here. I'm gonna flip it on its side, take it to 9 and get rid of this wane. I want to get my stops below 8 now. I'm just gonna go to 6. Because we are gonna be spinning it. But I'll never hit them the rest of this process. I'm just gonna go right around the horn. I'm gonna take this top to 9. That for now is as far as we're gonna go on that side. We're gonna flip it up. Make sure I got 8 here. Just barely. We're gonna saw worst face from here out. Now if we're smart, we try to take this side at 9 and to see what that looks like and leave us a little bit for the other side. It's gonna be close. Right now our worst wane is on the end here. I need to clean it up. I'm gonna come right to 8 here. That should leave us one more cut. I think. Am I 9 this way? Yep, one more cut. It's gonna get rid of most of this wane, but not all of it. And we need to get rid of, it's gonna get rid of all the wane we need to. At 7 foot, it's only a little dinky piece. There's a lot of good barn board there. My wane is almost non-existent. This one's ready for the pile, and this order is done. So that one's a little over 7. It's more closer to 8. There's the 16-footer sitting slept behind it there. A little bit of color difference there between the two. And here's the final one. That thing in the end there is not a crack, it's a sap drip. Nice and clean, good job there. We didn't have a lot to play with though, boys and girls. There was not a lot to play with there. Just doing it by eye and doing it smart. That was all the wane we ended up with right there. And that's past the 7 foot mark. Hi, what you doing? Want some water? You want some water, Dan? So that's it for that job. Oh, you do want some water, huh? There you go. Next thing I have to do is just edge those other oak boards down to whatever his dimensions are written on the piece of paper there. I'm going to edge them all down to his big dimension. He only needs one board that's a little less. So let's just say they're 7 1/4 and 6 3/4. And he needs like 5 of them at 7 3/4 or 7 1/4 and one of them at 6 3/4. I'm going to edge everything, I think, to set the bigger dimension, like 7 1/4. He can rip the other one on a table saw if he wants to. No sense in trying to cut a 4-footer, edge off a 4-footer. I could always throw a edge guide on my circular saw and cut it down. I'm gonna have to cut these boards down anyway, so he doesn't have to pick them up in 16-foot form. And then it's gonna be cleanup time, pretty much. I think actually, as of right now, kind of the rest of the week, I think we'll be doing cleanup, and we got to do some stuff to the mill, guys. I got to put on my new and improved roller guide for my non-operator side. Take off my tried and true trusty setup, which scares the crap out of me. Put on my fully 4-axis adjustable one. I got to clean out the air filter in that thing. We got to put the 8-foot extension on so that I can store from my molder planer. I want to store the engine and the head section in the garage. So right now it's pretty wrapped up tight, but we haven't had rain for a while, but we're supposed to get some rain, I think, tomorrow. So I either got to throw a tarp over that and get through the weekend, or I'm going to have to break out all the sections for my extension that I'm going to do first, and then store the head away. At least, you know, the cutters and the planer head and things like that. I don't want those to get rusty. And probably the engine, and just get that all inside. The other stuff can stay out here because it stays out here in the weather anyway. And we got to grade out past the mill, get rid of my sawhorses and my bench. I want to build a couple of little dinky blocks that are the right height, so I can put my bed sections together on it. And then just, when I'm ready, just slide them in and bolt them together, level them, tighten it all down, add the other 8 feet here. And we got to start burning some of these construction scraps from when we put together the campwood bin and the slab rack, which is almost full right now. But that's pretty much it. Either one of those 2 beams, if you eyeballed them with no thought, so just said, oh, this looks like a good top cut, and cut it there, if you had done that to either one of those 2 beams, you would not have gotten clean 8x8s out of it. I will guarantee it. They came out that close. You know, the other one, we were within a 1/4 inch, and that was mapped out cutting. We were within a 1/4 inch of having wane on that. This one, we still got a little wane on it. And we did it careful. It's always safest, I think, to work out from the center of the log. You know, but just, you know, the only time that I would go in and say, oh, this looks like a good top cut, is if I was just cutting 2x4s or barn board or things like that out of pine. You can eyeball a top cut. But if you have in mind what you want, it's always better to put yourself some training wheels in there, or go through a thought process to make sure that you hit your numbers right, because that one right there was really close to having a bunch of wane on it. If you guys need anything from Norwood, please use my Norwood affiliate link in the description below. All you have to do is cut and paste it to your browser. It takes you right to Norwood cell site. Somehow tracks that you watch my video. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, or if you didn't like it, give me the thumbs down. Leave a comment if you can for me. Comments and the likes and dislikes tend to help me the most in the algorithm. The more people interact with the videos, the more the algorithm suggests us. Danny and I always appreciate the watch. We hope that when you come here and you watch something, that maybe you learn something. Maybe you've been doing this for 50 years and you say, that guy's crazy. You know, leave that in the comments too. But I hope you learn something. You know, hope you learn with me as I go through it. And these are nice little orders, you know, for, you know, in all honesty, an hour's worth of cutting for a $500 order. These are nice little orders. Hopefully they keep coming in. But for now, for Danny, who's over there somewhere, I got to go find him, and myself, Pirate Solutions out.